According to an article on Sage Journals, nymphomania is defined as a woman with unfulfilled craving that is intense and ardent. Nymph comes from a word that means to be the wife of, and mania means many things, including inspired frenzy, passion, fury, and spirit. The word inspire refers to one who has supernatural influence. Now, there is a reason that fornication is a sin. It's because it infects you with the spirits of the other person. Of course, aside from the fact that it violates God's laws. And a person who is a fornicator is not a person who you want to trade spirits with, because they are full of unclean spirits. Fornication breaks spiritual laws too. It's forbidden. Unfortunately, even if someone violates you in a certain way, their spirits will transfer into you too. Women weren't made to be violated, but women also weren't made to be ran through. This isn't natural for us. It's not natural for women to want multiple partners. The extreme feminists who claim they care about women yet promote promiscuity are just being used by Satan to destroy women's souls. So, nymphomania, which they now call hypersexuality, is the result of a woman or a girl who was opened up sexually by a man who is not her husband and doesn't want to be her husband. She takes on the spirit of a nymph. So this is not in a literal sense, but he took her body, which is what a husband is supposed to do. And so she is as a bride chasing after him in similar men or other men. The violation or the heartbreak, if it is the result of heartbreak, leaves her unfulfilled. It's not natural, rather, this is a trauma response. Trauma is a spiritual wound. For instance, when you pine after a narcissist, which is someone with Satan's spirit, only to be rejected, or you were violated by one, you will then play out that trauma over and over again. Like Echo, the nymph who fell for Narcissus. So, not in a derogatory way, but you have become a maniac or a person who is obsessed. And according to the same source I mentioned earlier, once physiology changed, the subject eventually depends on the sexual orgasm to regulate emotions. And I would add, you are depending on your violator or someone who has the same spirit as your violator to validate you. To be physiologically changed is to be spiritually altered. You have been spiritually altered. So here is a synopsis of the story of Narcissus from Greek legends and myths.com. In the story of Narcissus, Echo was a nymph who was in love with Narcissus, the man who did not know himself, to the point that he fell in love with his own reflection. Echo was cursed by someone else. The curse put on her was that she would not have a voice. She could, however, repeat the words of others after they spoke. Hence her name was Echo. So Narcissus was full of himself and was not interested in her. Therefore, he imparted the spirit of rejection into her when he rejected her interest. We know narcissists do the same. Ultimately, Narcissus died when a goddess named Nemesis paid him back for his rejection of others. So there you can see that rejection is the narcissist nemesis. Narcissists can't handle rejection. You and I can overcome the spirit of rejection, but they can't. It's like with Satan. If you resist him or reject him, he will flee. And I have actually had a dream of what this looks like. He will become emaciated and malnourished, like Narcissus did in the story, because he is not feeding from your soul. He may be fat and full in other people's lives, but not in yours when you resist him because you are not feeding him. You reject him. So if the nymphomaniac wants to heal, they have to stop running. They have to get their power back by resisting the devil, by rejecting the devil, the narcissist, or whoever violated them or rejected them. So you have to break the curse and get your voice and your power back from whoever took it. You have to know that the devil, his children, and their deeds, such as fornication, will not ever validate you. All you will find with them is more rejection. A person that is a fornicator is not a faithful person because fornication creates illegal bonds, but it neglects to create a cognizant covenant. Fornication is also a selfish act. So, a lot of women these days have been violated or hurt by a man. And what's popular is for some women to say, well, I want to get mine too. But as a woman, this just isn't what happens in reality. You aren't getting yours. For the most part, only he is, so long as he isn't your husband. He's taking from you and dumping his waste into you, or around you, or on you. Half of women do not get a physical release from sleeping with a man, but almost all men get a release when they sleep with a woman. So when you get nothing in return from a man, when you fornicate with a man, and then on top of it, you get no release or you were violated by a man, the act is arresting you. The man doesn't love you, but yet he is pocketing a big portion of you and is giving you nothing in return. Therefore, you are losing yourself. And the more you do this, you are losing yourself more. And you are getting depleted. Then to compensate, what happens is you will talk about how you got to get yours too, and how you're going to have a hot girl summer or a hoe phase because your true voice has been taken away. And all you are doing when you say stuff like that is echoing the voice of the men who violated you. You're sounding just like them. You say, if men can do it, women can too. You are an echo of their lust, but yet you call it empowerment. But that's not your voice. That's the voice of every man that has broke your heart or violated you. Instead of resisting this demonic mindset and resisting the devil, you ran into the devil's arms. Resist the devil, reject the devil, get your voice back. Find your voice to get it back. Use your brain, your own brain, and stop letting other people's voices, like the popular celebrities, singers, rappers, reality stars of the day, reverberate in your mind. Love is the most beautiful thing. And anyone who denies that they want love is a liar. You don't want a loose girl phase. You don't. You want love. But you're letting the voice of the devil and his children control you. When someone violates you and tells you to not tell anyone, that is them cursing you with silence. You have been cursed with the inability to speak or defend yourself. They now have your voice. You are stuck trying to appease them. You're bowing down to their false power because really it's your power and you're desiring it. But they use your power and the power that they stole from others to stand on, making themselves look more powerful than they really are. Narcissists and the like are actually weaklings. People who have to hurt others are weaklings. If they were comfortable in their own power, if they even had power, they wouldn't have to take power from others. They wouldn't have to tap into Satan's counterfeit power. Yet that's exactly what they do. So nymphomania is you chasing after your own power. The one who violated you holds your power, and you think the way to get it back is to repeat that trauma thinking it will heal you. You can't fill your wound with what caused your wound. You have to go in the other direction. None of this is your fault, but your power and your voice are in the opposite direction from where you keep running to.